Hey, Kiyomi here, and today I'm giving you guys a walkthrough how I drew this illustration of RIIKAMI. I already had a vision in mind when I started, since I've been wanting to draw him for a while now, but I still went looking around for some references from Pinterest, and I found these two beautiful art pieces by NT622933123. Well, yep, that's a username, and Dove_DDME, and used them as a reference. And then I made this abomination for me to look at. Yeah. I ended up sketching everything out, and I personally like to color my sketches because it helps me envision how the final drawing would look like. I know a lot of people don't do that, but I don't know. I do. I personally recommend it because after I started doing it, I feel like my lighting and the moods of my drawings have improved a lot. So if you don't do that, give it a try. Maybe, it can improve your art. I also forgot to mention most of this speed paint will be taken from my stream since I drew it live. Twitch.tv/Kiyomi_T. But yeah, there will be a lot of jumping around and me getting distracted, so I hope it doesn't bother you guys too much. Oh, look, Vel's jump scare. Not me showing off the doodles I made. But I don't really have a specific process for line art. I just kind of like to separate most of it because I like to color my line art. So in the end, I separate skin, I separate hair, different accessory pieces, also eyelashes because I like to work on eyelashes a lot. But yeah, this is kind of how my layering looks like. And yeah, before I do line art, I like to make sure that my sketch is very understandable for me to draw over. I can have like confidence in like, okay, I made a bad sketch, but I know I can do well with it on line art. But most of the time, I really do enjoy a clean sketch. So I like to, give myself a break by cleaning my sketches up before that and making sure that my line art will be easier for me to do, because I'm gonna be honest, line art is my least favorite process of the art. But it's also super satisfying when it comes out well. So, yeah. Here, I start drawing the glove. I pull up two references so I can draw the glove better. I don't care what anyone says. I know there used to be stigma around using references because people like to gatekeep or be like, no, I'm a better artist. I don't use references. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna be honest. Using references will make you a better artist, not a worse one. Doesn't strip you from your artist title. It actually helps you. You can't remember everything you've ever seen in your life, okay? You don't know how to draw everything. Trust me, just use references. I'm telling you, they save your life and your art. Here, I actually started having trouble with the thumbs, so I drew behind the hand to understand what I'm doing. And I do this a lot. If I don't understand how the fingers go or some clothing falls or something like that, I always draw behind the initial thing to kind of understand how it goes and how it would peek out from everything else, or if it will even peek out, because sometimes everything will be covered. So it's important to do that and check. The same thing I'm kind of doing with the arm. I extended my canvas because I wanted to see how the hand would go out of frame. It made it easier for me to draw his hand kind of go up and peek out of the frame. So I recommend also extending your canvas and seeing how sometimes your body falls, because it's easier to understand the whole picture, because most of the time the illustration is like a frame or a zoomed in version. So if you feel like your legs or hands or anything is weird, just extend your canvas and draw the full thing out. Trust me, it works. And here I go ahead and make a selection outside of the... Like, I select the whole background where the character is not, and then I reverse select and make a mask layer on top of my coloring folder. It makes it easier for me to color and make sure the colors don't go outside of the character. I apply all the base colors that I color pick straight from this sketch I did earlier. As you can see, I have my sketch on the left side, constantly using it as a reference because that's kind of the end result that I'm aiming for. I usually color pick straight from the reference sheets, and then I apply effect layers to make everything the same color and the same mood as the drawing is supposed to be. But I've been experimenting a lot with my drawing, so I was experimenting with this one and tried it a little bit more differently, and I'm gonna be honest, I really enjoyed it. And it turned out pretty good. So before I move on to the shading, I actually apply gradients on the base layers, because the base layers will look flat under all the shading, and nothing is really one color specifically. With the grading, I also add like blushes, redness on the skin, makeup, markings, whatever needs to be added on top. And then I start shading the face. I don't know why, but I always like to shade the skin first. It's just been with me forever, so I always start off with the face and the skin. I apply a multiply layer on top to start shading with, kind of the same tone as in the sketch. Not really a kind of color picking. I don't know. I just usually play around to see to see how it goes and see if it fits. This is going to be a light shade. This isn't going to be the full shading. I will apply the softest of the shadows first, and then kind of see where it's harsher, where the light would like blend out more, the shadows would blend out more, making sure I use both like soft edges and hard edges. Yada yada yada, the basic stuff. And then I go ahead and make a second multiply layer to make sure to add harsher shadows on top of the softer ones. As you can see, I am also using different brushes like airbrush and my usual normal water brush that I paint with and do the shadows with. Don't be afraid to use different brushes to make sure all of your shadows look good. I also use the blur or the smooth brush to sometimes blur out more harsher shadows because I think it looks good. And here I'm adding the white stripes in his hair because I didn't add them before. And then again with the gradient, I'm applying some gradients on the base layer, so because my next part will be shading the other parts, so I'm preparing it for my multiply layers and everything else that I'm planning on doing. As much as I love my effect layers, I did end up doing like more paintery style and using normal colors on the clothing because I don't know, I just wanted to, I felt like it would fit this art piece more, so I ended up doing that. I apply some of the colors down before moving on to shading the hair because I just like to jump back and forth from one thing to another. I don't usually complete one part of the drawing and then immediately go to another. I just kind of like to jump back and forth and see how the piece is coming together as a whole. But yeah, after that we are jumping straight to shading the hair, and it has like a similar process to what I do with skin. I apply the very soft shade at first, like just hair strands, making sure the hair looks good, and then I move on to darker shades. And honestly, even though I have one layer of shade applied, you can see how the gradient like brings the hair out more. So I definitely encourage people to use gradients more before they apply their initial shading. And now I am using the darker shade to go over the hair and add the darker shadows. I mostly add them to connection points and where the light doesn't reach much. And then I go back to skin. I'm kind of going up and touching, adding shadows, rendering, making sure everything looks good. I'm adding reflective lights as well as going back to the hair to add some stuff. Then we are going to continue with the glove. I love the glove. So with the glove, I add shadows first, and then on a different layer, I add like reflective lights and lighting because I don't like to mix my shades and lights together. It makes the process a bit messy for me. So that's what I prefer to do. I like to be really organized. And then I honestly just kind of render the glove the whole time. And I'm really proud how it came out. Again, I was using references to understand what to do and how the light hits specific materials. Most of it definitely comes with practice, but I'm telling you, when you look at IRL pictures and you try to draw them, they look good. After that, I just go around mostly working on the like necklace areas and more leathery parts of the drawing to add reflective lights and shade them and make them look good. I like to do rendering process immediately on medals and chokers and straps. It's just part of my process again. Everyone's kind of different. But after I'm done with this, I go and try to finish up the shirt because like I said, I put some colors down before just to see the whole piece together, and I like to jump back and forth a lot. Then I just come back to it later, and yeah, I think the shirt turned out really good. Then I move on to the cape and other parts of the body, doing basically the same exact process as I've done with the other parts. Again, I really like to render my clothing, my leathers, my straps, and my metal immediately without using any effect layers or anything like that. If there's any light that I don't want to be mixed up or I'm not confident in that I will accidentally mess it up, I always make a new layer. I don't like to do it on the same layer because I like to keep it clean. Now, I've come to the point where all my basic shading is done, so I'm going around adding highlights in the hair, as well as like adding even sometimes darker parts in the hair, like making it more rendered, adding extra shadows where I haven't added shadows, going around fixing things up, adding little tiny pieces that I think would fit. And after I'm done with that, I'm actually going on a line art layer to color it. So I like to play around with my lashes. I like to color my lashes. I'm also coloring the line art to match the colors of the art piece, fixing up the backgrounds, adding extra things, the blood, absolutely everything that needs to be added at this point. Of course, we're going to finish off the piece with that main point of the art, which is that big light shining on top of his eyes, because that's basically the highlight of the piece. And the reason why I wanted to draw it, because I had this cool vision in my head that there will be like a light highlighting his eyes, because I think his eyes are really cool. So yeah, for the finishing touches, I add an overlay layer and just kind of play around with colors, making sure everything looks the way I want it to look, have a little glow everywhere. Make sure there's like perspective blurs and stuff like that, because I like to play around with those too. Add some sparkles in the air. And currently I'm trying to make it have like a 3D effect. I tried to look around in Clip Studio Paint, but I could not find an automatic 3D effect. So I had to make 3 separate pieces of the original work, color them all in different colors, and then adjust them, and then merge them together and erase it with a big brush. And honestly, it worked. It had like this slight 3D effect, and I really dig it. So I'm very happy how it turned out. I actually sent the art piece to RIIKAMI's Discord, and he actually saw it, so we can see his reaction to it right now.
I just finished this. Now that's crazy, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of fucked with that hard. What the fuck? Yo, hello? That's kind of fire. No, that's good. Thank you so much, Kiyomi. It's so good. Damn! Sorry. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you fucking drew me. Thank you so much. You're talented as fuck. That's cool. I love the hair. Holy shit, that's fire.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope it helped. I've never done anything like this before, so I hope it can make you guys understand my drawing process a little bit more for those who are curious. I'm even happier that he saw it and that he liked it. I definitely wasn't kicking my feet like a little schoolgirl who got like a message from her crush or something when I saw his reaction. But yeah, I am super happy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you guys want anything specific art related, because I've been looking into doing some tutorials or more walkthroughs about different art pieces. But yeah, see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.